Hi guys, I'm the Dutch Movie Guy, and this is my review for Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 1, Steps into Shadow. At the beginning of this year, I discovered the existence of this TV show called Star Wars Rebels. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, I've always been, and when I discovered Star Wars Rebels, I watched the first 2 seasons and I was hooked. I was like, this show is rad. When Season 3 comes along, I want to review this, and then that'll be awesome, I think. So therefore, I'm going to review every single episode from now on for Season 3 because I love this show. Now this review will be a little bit longer than the other reviews because this is, first of all, a 2-part episode, and second of all, I have to explain a little bit about what I'm doing for the people who are new to this. So it's like I'm just reviewing the episodes, just giving my thoughts on it because that's what I want to do. This means I've been doing some reviews to the lead up to Season 3. I've done reviews for Clone Wars, the New Dawn novel, which actually is a prequel to Star Wars Rebels, and of course Star Wars Rebels Season 1 and 2. If you've missed any of my reviews for that, you can click right here to see those. Because yeah, you probably should know my thoughts on what I think about the first 2 seasons of Rebels, Clone Wars and New Dawn. It all ties into this, so yeah, you should probably see it if you haven't already. Anyway, this first episode of Season 3 is just like the first 2 seasons, the opener. It is a long episode. We want a long episode because we've been waiting a long time to get Rebels back again, and now we finally have it back. It's a long episode and it delivered. For me, this episode was great. I really liked it a lot. So this is how my review will go. I will give a quick synopsis about what the episode was about, then I will go into what I liked, then I will go into what I disliked, then I will quickly say what I think what's going to happen in next week's episode, and then I'll finish up my review. Anyway, let's get into what this episode was. We begin the episode and we see the team, except Canon, on an Imperial prison, and they try to break out Hondo. Hondo is a great character from the Clone Wars, carried into Rebels as well. I really like him, he's a comic relief. And Hondo has an Ugnaught friend, and his Ugnaught friend actually knows there are some Y-Wings that the Rebellion could use, so yeah, they have to get the Y-Wings on a certain system. And that's basically what this episode is about. They are trying to get the Y-Wings for the Rebellion, which is rad because you actually see a little bit more of how the Rebellion is formed. Like, yeah, we see these characters actually do things to form that Rebellion, and you see the bigger picture. Like, they are trying to make that Rebellion that we see in Star Wars. And I think right now where we are in Rebels, we have progressed time quite a lot, actually, since Season 1. I think it's about 2 years, maybe one and a half. So it's like, yeah, we're getting towards Star Wars, and you have to get to that rebellion that we see in Star Wars. So it makes sense, and it's really nice that you actually see how it gets made. That you see how they got the Y-Wings again that we actually saw in Clone Wars, which was really nice to have them in Clone Wars already. And then you see like, okay, now they're actually old, but the rebellion has to use whatever they can. So that's why they're getting the Y-Wings. So actually now I'm already talking about what I like about this episode, so I will just continue to say the things that I really liked about this episode. I really like where Ezra is going. Like, I already thought after Season 1 and 2, especially after Twilight of the Apprentice, the season finale of Season 2, like, yeah, Ezra has to go dark. And with this episode, it really confirms that he is going dark. At least for me, that is what I think. He is going dark, and a lot faster actually than I thought, because he's been looking into the Sith Holocron. He used his Sith Holocron because it's like, yeah, the Sith Holocron teaches me power, and I want that because that's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome, but it also pulls you towards the dark side and separates you from your master, Canon, because Canon is a Jedi Knight now, and Canon will never go dark. I don't see Canon going dark anytime soon, but Ezra probably is going dark, and Ezra is just being a dick to Canon because he looked into the Sith Holocron. So yeah, it makes sense that Ezra actually has more of a grudge towards Canon because he has to pull towards the dark side. So yeah, it's actually interesting to actually see that they're already kind of splitting up, and yeah, that's probably going to happen. I think even this season we might see Ezra go dark and fight Kanan, perhaps? I don't know. That's just speculation by me. Speaking of Kanan, by the way, Kanan of course is blind now, and he has to learn to see again. Like, he doesn't really know how to see, so he is on Chopper Base where we ended last season, still with the spider thingies, and he finds out there is another Force user on the planet called the Bendu. The Bendu is a Force user between the dark side and the light, and he teaches Kanan like how to actually see. And it's really nice to see that connection, like to have Kanan learn and see that Kanan is actually able to see again. I think it's really good that they show that in this episode, so I really like that. And of course, probably the biggest thing, Grand Admiral Thrawn is back in the Star Wars universe. He's now actually canon. I did a trailer reaction for Star Wars Rebels Season 3. I already talked about him in that. In this, he is just not used all that much. It's very subtle, but it's like effective. You already see that he wants the bigger picture. Like at the end, it's like, oh, this is just one craft. This is not the entire Rebel fleet. Just let him go then, because I want the entire Rebel fleet. You already see this guy, he's going to mean serious business. I haven't read his novels. I haven't gotten around to reading those novels because actually I'm reading all the Canon novels right now. I'm actually almost done with the Canon novels, and then I have to go to the comics, and then I can perhaps read the Thrawn novels. But I looked up online about Thrawn's character, and he's an amazing character. So what I already know about him, we saw in this episode, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna get an amazing villain in Thrawn, and I can't wait to see what the rest of this season has in store for us with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, as far as complaints go, I have a few, and most of them are just it's a Disney XD show. I have to really remind myself of the fact that I'm watching a Disney XD show that is on a kids channel, because the stormtroopers just can't hit shit. I'm so fed up with that bullshit. It's like you have stormtroopers here, and you have Ezra and the group here, and it's like they're shooting right at each other, and they just can't hit. And I'm like, are you serious right now? It's like so insane. Come on! I mean, the stormtroopers were already incapable in the original trilogy, but this is insane. Something that I also disliked is, once again, something that is a kid's thing. They gave the Ugnaughts a language, and the Ugnaughts are pigs, so they talk like a pig language, and I'm like, okay, it's really kiddie. It was really kiddie to hear Hondo talk in Ugnaught language to the Ugnaughts, and that they actually understand. It's just what I don't like about this show, the fact that this is a kids show. And I have to remind myself of that, but it's like, come on, last season we ended with Twilight of the Apprentice, like that was dark, that was awesome, and that was not really kiddie at all. And then we get this kid stuff in this episode, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm watching a kids show on Disney XD. That's my bad, basically. Other than that, I don't have a lot of complaints. Like, those were really my only complaints. I still really like this episode. Now, next week's episode is called The Holocrons of Fate. Holocrons, that's multiple holocrons. So even though this episode got rid of the holocron, yeah, I think we're gonna see him again next week. We already saw in the Season 3 trailer that the holocrons are going to do something, like both the light side holocron that Kanan has and the dark side holocron. Yeah, they're going to do something together, so probably next week we're already getting that one back. This one that will probably focus on Ezra and Kanan. Perhaps even we get some of Darth Maul. I don't know about that. It would be really rad, but I don't want to get too excited because it might be that he's not even in that episode. But just after seeing this first episode of Season 3, I'm just excited. I thought it was a great episode, and I'm just really excited to see the rest of the season. And I wonder, what are your thoughts on this episode? Like, did you like it as much as I did, or perhaps not? Please, whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. Next week I will be back for my review for episode 2, so look out for that. And I'll just finish with saying, may the force be with you, and as always, if you would like my review and you want to see more of my movie and trailer reviews, click right here.